Carrie, but that's who I am. And I learned to say that. I learned to live it and walk it through these trials and tribulations. It's very important that you know who you are. Because the problem is people don't know who and what they are. And they don't even know what they're fighting and who they're fighting, right? And I wrote a notice to the medical board beginning of January this year. And that was my letterhead. And then I put notice to them. That notice is open-ended. I'm not done with them. They will answer in my lifetime for what they've done. And what I told them is that when I told them who I am, now they're my employee. Because that put me in the air, there's law, right? There's the law of the land, which is common law of the air, which is contract law, covenant law, which is God's law. And then there's maritime water law, which is that's what they fooled us and tricked us into. That's the slavery law, right? So anyway, I told them who I am. Now, they're my employee, and I put them on notice because they violated God's law, they violated the Constitution and our Bill of Rights, and they become a death cult. And I told them they do not have the ability to take away my profession as far as healing people, because I go by God's law and I follow the example of Yeshua, Jesus Christ, the apostles and the prophets. And so you can use scripture in a court of law, because that does stand, if you look at Black's Law Dictionary, as a woman or man. There's no other gender in their law book, only women or men. That if you are connected with the divine creator, you know who you are, you can use the Bible and the scripture as evidence. Did you know that? Yes. You got to know, see, be wise as serpents and gentle as doves. There's a reason why, and the Bible actually is a law book if you look at it that way. So you have to know what they're using their words and how they're twisting and turning them. And you have to know how we got stuck and looped into that system. And why I wrote that letter and I gave up my medical license to them. And I also wrote the DEA, the Drug Enforcement Agency, said, take it back. And I also told them, take back my taxonomy code, because every doctor is assigned a taxonomy code like an animal. Do you see what they're doing? They've downregulated, put us into another category of animals so that they can get away with this. This is all legalese. Sorry, I'm getting away with something. This is important that you know this. And so when I did this, when I wrote this letter, and I told them that I understand there's a fictitious me and a real me, but I'm the real me now, so you have no jurisdiction over me. I knew they would be angry, because the Attorney General kept coming after me for misinformation over and over again. They kept escalating it. And I found out that the Attorney General doesn't even answer to our own country. They answer to Interpol. Did you know that? No. These are important things we need to know. So then, a daughter of God, I can say anything I want before I was held back. I don't need their license. So you know what happened? They were smoldering about it, because also they have a psychiatrist on the chairperson of the medical board. And the psychiatrist was interested because he was put there. His forte is forensic psychiatry with regulatory disorders. What? But you know what that means. Bad doctors not following their rules. Getting us a psych, evaluation. Not falling for that trick. So anyway, I knew that was not the last to hear from them. Let me tell you what happened. So I was going out of the country to the United Kingdom and to speak there. And this was only last month. And right before I left, timing, they knew where I was going. Where I stay, 2 sheriff's cars with lights came, and a DEA officer. She's the head in Atlanta, Nancy Flanagan. They all 3 came. Actually, there's 4 people came to the door. Well, I knew that this is trespassing. They didn't have a warrant or anything like that. But a friend of mine, I live with some friends right now, I'm a nomad, answered the door and asked for identification. Well, 2 of them had to handwrite their name on a card, right? So you can hire sheriffs, I don't know if you know that, you can hire them off duty. So I knew that was just a ploy. Anyway, in the end, they gave her a letter to give to me. They would just sat there, they didn't know what to do. They're like Deputy Doofus, because, not the cream of the crop you're dealing with. And she finally had to threaten them, you're trespassing, get off. So anyway, this is the letter. I had to read the letter 10 times because I didn't understand it, because it was gaslighting at its best. So it pretty much says that, they found out that I gave back my medical license. Yes, I notified you. Yeah, I gave it back. And they said, so they're gonna give me an opportunity to go to a military base and attend a hearing, and I can plead my case with them to get my DEA license back. Wait, I'm like, what? I had to reread this over and over again. Now, it wasn't dated, it wasn't signed. This is a fraudulent letter. Do you see what they're doing? It's gaslighting and it's intimidation. Because you have to understand, even if I went ahead and if I engaged with them, it's a contract. If I engaged and lowered myself to their jurisdiction, they got me. If I got a lawyer, an attorney, a bar attorney, I went down back into maritime law. So the thing is, we need to understand this corrupt system that we're in and how to navigate it, to be wise as serpents but gentle as doves. So what I did is just put it back in an envelope saying, wrong address, because they addressed me not as who I am either. Wrong person, trespassing, and I put the U.S. code system because it's an international code, because money drives the world. You need to know the U.S. code system. It's not the U.S., it's a USC code. UCC coding. So anyway, I put that back, done. But what I'm just trying to tell you is they're mad. I took myself out of the system. And who came to me was the diversion control department. Diversion control. Because I am diverting from the norm. They literally have that organization. Okay? This is good though. We're learning how to operate in this crazy world. So anyway, that's who I am. But you can call me Carrie. And I'm not done with them. And again, that's an open-ended notice, because we the people, right? We have the original jurisdiction. They serve us. It's God gave us the unalienable rights, and then we created the Constitution, and then we made the government entities. And it's up to us, it's our duty, if they do not conform and they do not serve us according to these rules, regulations that we created, then we have to create it anew, right? Kick them out. And so we'll have to do that. I don't know if you wanted to show the PowerPoint. I got off kilter here. So let's go to the next one. You have to know what's going on right now, because I look at it from a bird's eye view, because I'm like, why are all these things happening? Everything's connected. It's not just about the vaccines. It's not just about them killing us in the hospitals. It's not just about the illegal or the fraudulent voting. It's about the human trafficking. It's about the babies. It's about the genocides. It's about the slavery at the all-time high. It's about Satanism at its worst. It's about the inversion of everything that is good and right and true. So why is all of that happening? That's what you have to look at, because who are you fighting if you don't know that? It is a spiritual battle and a physical battle. And so if you understand who you are, so I know who I am. If I'm a daughter of God, I have this holy temple. God can reside inside of me. What do I have to fear? And if I die in this mortal body right now, I don't really die. There's an eternity. And it's all about location, location, location. If anyone told you there's only one place you go, lie, 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 because no, we don't all go to the same place. I can tell you that. And so we were chosen for this very moment in time. You're here not by accident. I'm not here by accident. God knows every hair in your head, or even if you used to have hair, he knows what kind of hair you had before. He knows you by name. He knitted you in the womb, and he loves you. Loves you, and yes. He knows you are equipped for everything you need at this very moment in time, but you have free will, and it's your choice. Yes. And I know what I choose. Because when I first started speaking out, believe me, nobody was with me. But I said, God, if I'm the only one, then I'm the only one, because I want to do what is right and true. And I love people, real people. I love this earth. I love how it was created for us. I love the herbs and the plants that serve us. And I want to do what is right and true. I want to be the guardians and the caretakers like Adam and Eve were supposed to in the beginning. And that's what our job is to do. Not to watch it crash and burn and wait in our house for a rapture. That's not what's supposed to happen. Heaven comes here. We create it, right? As in the days of Noah, I think we're here. We're right here, guys. We're living it. And you can go to the next slide. So in the Bible, this very moment in time that we're all part of has been written more about than any other time period in the scriptures. You're that important and loved by God. You have to look at it in the right way. So Dana wanted me to show some of the microscope slides. He didn't think everybody had seen them, so let's go through them quickly because just to get a gist of this. So I looked at many different vials. Did I look at all of them? No. I mean, I'm sure there are different batches, different lots, but I saw enough. I haven't looked at a lot lately because it was disturbing me greatly. It's not healthy for me. But I'll show you some of these. See, these are payload rings. I see them in almost any of the batches, and it's not just me. All right, other people see them too. So these, you can go to the next slide. So these rings are seen, and what will happen is they enlarge over time, and then they extrude out contents, just different contents. What are they? I don't know. I'm just observing. You can go to the next slide. Again, here's another ring, extruding out some content. It looks almost gelatinous or like a lipid kind of content. You can go to the next slide. Here you see these larger, these rings are now enlarging out or thinning out, I should say, and their content again is like either a lipid or gel-like content. You see these tubes, these are kind of carbon nanotubes or graphene-like tubes. And these are in, most, not all of the batches that I personally observed, okay? Next slide. It's that was in a child's Pfizer vaccine. So that is, those are the, graphene-like carbon nanotubes. Go to the next slide. Same thing, more rings, Moderna, so next slide. Can you play that? It's a video. So look at this thing that goes around the ring, because everyone told me I was looking at air bubbles. Does that look like an air bubble to you? To this day, most colleagues will say, everything I'm looking at are air bubbles. Look, I'm not here to argue with anybody. I just want you to see what I'm seeing with a microscope. And even if it's in one batch, we should be worried, right? I don't care what anyone says to me, because a picture is worth 1,000 words. This is evil. And this technology is not from humans. Humans would not create this, okay? In fact, one of the main ingredients they use is hydrogel. It's a mother term. Lipid nanoparticles is one of the subcategories. They could only make this work with hydrogel. And I can tell you that talking to so many researchers and looking at their research papers, none of them can tell you exactly how it works or where it came from. That's a little strange, isn't it? But that's bad because, we shouldn't get technologies that's outside of our wisdom. It's a very dangerous thing. It's like giving a toddler an atomic bomb and you're watching it walk around, right? So this is the problem, technology given to people without the wisdom. Next slide. You can skip that. So I'm just going through this quickly because there's more important things to talk about. So, okay, I saw those in the vial. Well, what would it do inside the human body? We don't know. We can know there's a lot of bad things happening to people, right? But I wanted to show you some pictures from other researchers or other people that are taking care of people. Like this one is, she's from Kentucky, and she does detox foot baths, and she does live blood analysis and just looks at things in the microscope. She uses the Rife machine to treat people, and she said, well, look at this. This is kind of blurry, but you see these rings are coming out of people's feet. She's done this for many years. This is a brand new thing, but the rings, although it's hard to see on here, look identical to the rings that I was seeing inside the vial. Is that a coincidence? Maybe. Next slide. All right, this is hard to see. These smushy things all put together. It's a rouleau formation. Those are red blood cells that get inflamed, and they start sticking together in ribbons. Okay, but look at this geometric pyramidal structure up there. This is from the blood. I met the patient in Arizona, and not the phlebotomist, but the live blood analyst that was doing this. There were many people in Arizona getting these, so it looks like there's different batches being tested. What do? I don't know, but I want you to know that this is not normal, not good, and it's something, this technology is not normal technology. Let me put it that way. Next slide. So this is from Dr. Anna Mihalcha, if you heard her. Yes, she's been looking at different samples of people with Clifford Carnicom. And anyway, this is looking at somebody's blood, though it's really, I'm sorry, it's really blurry here. These are blood cells, and they're seeing a bioluminescent ribbon-like structure. These ribbon-like structures are very similar to what we're seeing inside the vial. Next slide. And it's really big, but it's kind of the same thing that you're seeing there. Next slide. And look at this bioluminescence. What is that? This is inside someone's blood. Those are red blood cells. Anna Mahalcha is seeing this in the non-jabbed people too. And I'm not surprised, because the earth they're attempting to terraform the earth, meaning they're putting it in food and water. Hydrogel was actually created initially for farming. All right, they were putting it in the farm it desiccates, it's water gel, so it takes water from the environment and holds it. So their excuse was, this will be good for this is good for droughts. That's what they said, but not really. So anyway, they've been using it in the ground anyway. They've been using it in different formats. They've been using it in different medicines. So it's not just the jabs, okay? They've been using it in other ways. So I'm not surprised that they're seeing it in the non-jabbed. Next slide. That's another image of that. Okay, next slide. So, but that's the real question, isn't it? Why? Why are they putting this everywhere? Now, honestly, do you really think a real human being, we have a conscience, right? We have empathy, we have a heart. Yeah, you can do bad stuff, but there's really a limit to a real human being. And you can have an oddball here and there, but really on a scale like this that goes worldwide. So why is this happening? And I kept looking at it and in many different ways, and I don't have a long time to talk, but I can only come up with one answer when you really look at this. It's really goes back to Scripture, back to Genesis. We are in a spiritual war. There are things that are not like us, okay? There are things that have been enslaving us. I truly believe that. Getting technology, you can call them fallen angels, you can call them Nephilim, you can call them aliens, you can call them whatever you want, interdimensional, I don't know. Does it matter? It just matters that we're not alone. And that's when Scripture comes in, because we should never be afraid. Because if we are daughters and sons of the true living God, we are made in His image. Nothing else is. Nothing else can create but us. Mm-hmm. Think about that. Nothing else can create but us. That's so awesome. I love to show people the water, Dr. Masaru Emoto and the water crystals experiment. Because we are, all life is made of water. With a word and a thought, you can change the crystalline structure of yourself and the things around you. You can do quantum physics and instantaneously change the structure of something around the world by praying, right? Thinking of them, a word. You're afraid of this shot when you can create with your mind? I mean, you have to remember who and what you are. Because if their technology could wipe us out and really take us over, we would be done with a long time ago, but we're not. Here we're still standing. We might not feel so good, but we're still standing, right? Think about it. This is why they have a constant barragement of fear propaganda on the television and programming and all kinds of things, is to keep us thinking that we're nothing and to keep us in fear and to keep us separate from God, because it's body, mind, soul, and spirit. So remember that. The second you know who and what you are, game over for this evil. Next. So this is their plan. It's about to really destroy the image of God, who and what we are, to trick you to think that you need to change who and what you are, that you're not good enough, to lie to you, to get you to think that you really need to be in this dead world of theirs, the metaverse, because their plan is avatars for all of us. First is a robotic copy of a human body, and it's remotely controlled by brain-computer interface. Been doing that a long time. Long time. That's old news. They do it through this technology that I'm showing you. Once there's enough inside, they can actually modify your behavior when you don't even know it. They can even rewrite your memories. I had, lots of references in other talks if you're really interested in that. But you can look it up yourself. Look at the military super soldier program. There's, recent article about with Korea and their institute of how they're doing this with the hydrogel. This is not new news. This is old news. They've been doing this for some time. So the next one is, they say currently, which they've already been doing, an avatar in which a human brain is transplanted at the end of one's life. Oh, do you really think that's life? It's just a brain. Then the next one is an avatar with an artificial brain in which a human personality is transferred. So that's taking your memories, uploading them, and then downloading them into a new body. That is not a new life, but that's what they're telling you. And the next one is just a hologram. You're just a computer simulation. This is seriously, I mean, look this up. This is a real agenda. I'm not part of this. Next. And of course, Ray Kurzweil, bigwig from Google. You got Elon Musk. He's not on our side, you guys. No matter what he says, he's probably already this cyborg. And many of these CEOs that you're seeing, world leaders, they all say by 2030 we're all going to be hybrid. 2030 they have a deadline. So I tell people, oh, that's fine. Don't believe me. I don't care if you believe me or not, because you should do your own research. But how do you think they're going to do this? How do you think they can change your body, all of our bodies, so quickly by 2030? That's around the corner. That means they have to be doing something to your body right now. This is what it's all about. Next slide. So why are they doing this? Well, intention behind nanotechnology, hydrogel, like I said, biosensors. The hydrogel can act like biosensors. It's analyzing what's going on in your body, your breathing, your respiratory. If you're fertile, if you're having sex, they've got many ways to know that's disgusting. If you have a fever, if you're sleeping, if you're dreaming, they claim they can know your thoughts by 85% accuracy. That's what they say. Because they want to make it, like the Tom Cruise movie, where they can do predictive programming. They can, say this person's thinking some bad thoughts. We need to stop them before they do something bad. I know about these things in the plan because, I attended business owners meetings in Atlanta, and I was being recruited for them, and obviously I didn't agree with that agenda. And you don't have to even believe me about the business owners meetings. You can look these things up. Profusa is the DARPA program. It's also the Department of Defense program, which they've already started to launch on certain people with diabetes and things like that. So you just have to, again, learn about these things. Don't get afraid and run away and not learn them, because that is dangerous. But when you go straight forward, front on, and you know what they're doing, it already loses its power. Just remember, knowledge is power. In the Bible it says, my people perish for lack of knowledge. So know what they're doing, but remember who you are. With God, everything is possible. And this is what it's all about, you guys. And of course, it's all about behavior modification, surveillance, predictive policing, drug delivery systems. So if you did something not so good, and you have enough of this substance in you, remotely they could trigger something to be released. It's been done many times. They claim they're doing it for cancer drugs, but they could give you a sedative, do a neuropeptide, neurohormone, something like that. I mean, this is the worst dystopian hell ever. There's no way you couldn't have a creative thought. You couldn't have true joy, true love. No fruits of the Spirit would be allowed. And to already be the walking dead. So don't even go to that area. There's nothing that we need that they're offering. Our bodies can heal without all of this.
Yes.
I promise you.
Yes.
The earth is amazing. We don't need that. So that's the health app on our iPhones. I've done, talks about that, showing you everything they can monitor if you agree and you get enough of the substance inside of you. The Internet of Things, well, we are the thing. Once you have the substance inside of you, you're being monitored. You are a product. They make money off of you. You're a commodity. They already make money off of us anyway, but this is one more way. They look at us as through the utilities, because we're energy and we're property. Smart cities are terrible, right? They're a way to constantly monitor you. Stay away from the big cities right now. Carbon credits. Oh, if you had too much cheese in the week, you don't get any more cheese for a month. or your sugar content, all kinds of crazy things like this because of carbon credits. And social credits, of course, if I would be 0, negative probably 1,000 because I speak out, that kind of thing. I'm a little mouthy, but I mean, these are all their insane, this is not human.
That's right.
I mean, really think about it, because people keep thinking it's Bill Gates or Fauci. No, they're just faces.
Yes.
There's probably been many of each one of those two, you guys.
Ugh.
I mean, you gotta stop thinking it's Biden or it's this. That's nothing. It's nothing. Think about, look at the bird's eye view. It really is satanic agenda. It's seed of the serpent versus seed of the woman, the true living from the true living God. If you haven't read the Bible, if you haven't read that, I really think you should. It's a history book. It's a law book. It's an instruction book. It's a book of love. It's a book of life. It really is everything in there.
Yes.
Next. Of course, while this happened, we have to take the blame. Nobody else. Because remember, we, the people, were supposed to do something when the other idiots didn't do their jobs. And we didn't. We got lazy, got too busy. We took the bait of becoming numbed by television and movies and Netflix and Amazon and baseball games and entertainment.
That's right.
We are the fault.
That's right.
Nobody else. And so today's a day we take accountability, responsibility, authority over the bodies we have, authority over our families, take dominion back from those demons. You can't blame them for trying. We're the ones that accept it.
That's right.
And want to know about World War II? It's still going on. Did you guys know that Germany never undeclared itself from World War II? It's still a war country. Incredibly important piece of information, don't you think?
Yes.
Anyone from Germany can tell you that. They still have their public schools there as though they're military schools. They're still at war. So what does that tell you about the Nuremberg Treaty? Can't be really ratified, can it?
Nope.
Nothing from that time could be ratified. Interesting. Would that explain why all the really bad people never really served their terms or served justice? And that the United States took 50% of their best scientists and most evil scientists, and Russia took the other 50%. And that's how we have the blueprint for what's going on now called the Codex Alimentarius. It came from, his last name is Schmidt, I forgot his first name, but he was the president of IG Farben, which is now Monsanto, and they did the chemical poisonings and the Holocaust and every other evil thing you can think of. I think they gave him 2 months in jail. And then while he was in jail going, well, next time we'll get this right, we'll do it through their food supply, we'll do it in a sneakier way. So he actually got a bunch of the cronies back together. They created the Codex Alimentarius, which is the blueprint for everything happening right now. It's a one world order of everything. And from the Codex Alimentarius, they had to have their own entities to carry out the plan. So then there's a CDC that was created, the World Health Organization, the United Nations. You get the drift, the World Economic Forum. So all those, those organizations that Dr. Nass was talking about, you look at where's their parent company coming from. It comes from the Nazi movement. Now, is it Germany? It's not Germany, guys. We don't want to hate anybody like that, right? You've got to look and how are the Nazis formed? If you really look at it, they're a cultic society. The Vril and the Thule, Thule societies. They're black magic occultic societies. Again, it all goes back to the battle of good and evil. It's not really Germany, it's not this person, it's not Democrat. Again, we can't do that. Can't, start dividing everybody. It really is about powers and principalities that we're dealing with. And know that all that technology came from that point on. Hydrogel and 5G are their main components. You have to have both of them to make this work, and compliance. So you say no. They look at us like farm animals. I told you they put a taxonomy code on me as an animal, right? So they look at us like farm animals. We are a source of energy, food, and, yes, I said food. we need to look at it for what it is, because if you don't know who you're fighting, you'll lose already, right?
Mm-hmm.
Again, energy, food, and property. I used to tell people about the website. You can go, put your social security number in, and you could see how many people were trading you. Mm-hmm. As soon as I started speaking out, my numbers went, I wasn't as valuable. But I told too many people about the website, and they changed it. So I have to get some hackers to help me to figure out how to do it again. But every single person here is being traded. You're traded even after you're dead, by the way.
Yeah.
So you have to see the world for what it is. I was actually given it's a blessing and a curse. From when I was a little child, God gave me this download of knowledge. Now, I grew up in a blue-collar neighborhood, Dearborn, Michigan. Parents young, they didn't know anything. Did not grow up in the church, nothing like that. But I was playing with my sisters, about 8, 9 years old, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I was born a slave. How did that happen? Like, I'm not a slave, how am I a slave? Oh my gosh. And I thought, well, I like my slave family. I like my slave parents. I like my slave friends. I guess it's okay. Started playing again, but then I thought, no, but I'm not a slave. This is wrong. I don't want to be a slave. And I'm like, well, I'm a kid, but when I grow up, a big person, I'm going to do something about this. And I had that knowing, that resolute feeling like I'm sure you've had before. And I felt that this year, turned 50, I remembered all that. I said, I think it's come full circle. I think this is the year it starts to change. This is the year we say no. Get out of the slave system.
Yes.
And just see it for what it is. All right? We can't fool ourselves that we're free. We're not free right now. But we can be, right? If we want to be, if we choose to be. And it's not as hard as you think it's going to be. What's alien? Well, they're going to try to tell us there's aliens out there, but there are other things that are not us. We have archaeological evidence. We've got DNA evidence, elongated skulls. DNA is not us, blah, 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 blah. Big giant bones. There's things out there that are us. What is it? Interdimensional, underground, alien, whatever. It doesn't matter because they're not created like us. It's all charades. So remember, I'm telling you all this because I really feel that soon that some kind of deception is going to happen. You probably heard the UFO thing, all that. And if people aren't prepared to hear some of this, they're going to be so shocked and make the wrong decision. So you've got to understand that these words are being pulled out there in the public. And I don't want you to be in shock and follow the wrong thing. Remember, discernment's important. Do not fear is put in the Bible over 365 times. You believe, right? Believe in the true living God. And we do not need to fear at all because our God is a loving God. His wing is protecting his children. Okay, next slide. Now what can we do? Next slide. Again, do not fear, for those who are with us are more than those who are with them. That is true because there's a supernatural realm that the church has not been teaching about.
That's right.
It's been infiltrated.
That's right.
Yeah.
Do you know how amazing we are? Do you know there's other dimensions? And that there are angels and there are demons. And that if you could see between the veil, a lot of people have had near-death experiences, like I have. You can see between the veil. You can see at times what's really around. And believe me, God's angels are powerful, magnificent, and he loves you. If you choose that. If you don't choose that, there's only 2 choices. It's like gender, there's only 2 choices. So if you don't choose
right.
The other side will choose you.
That's right.
But you're never alone. And miracles happen all the time. They
Hallelujah.
cover them up. Spontaneous healings, miracles, whatever you call them, happen all the time. We can heal ourselves once we understand who and what we are. Again, the most important thing is for you to know who and what you are and know what really the true battle is. And this is how you really gain freedom. This is how we really get our world back. This is how we get our lives back. This is how we protect ours, because that's our responsibility. Protect the younger and the fragile and the children, right? Protect this world. We're supposed to be the caretakers. Next slide. And remember, God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him, male and female created he them. When you start reading the Bible with new eyes, you'll get a lot more information. You got to have a mom and a dad, right? Honor thy mother and thy father. There's male and female. Okay, next slide. For you created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in the secret place, when I was woven together in the depths of the earth. Your eyes saw my unformed body, and the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. Hallelujah. Every single one of you has a plan. Every single one of you is made out of love. Every single one of you, he knows intimately. But many people do not know him, the creator. I encourage you, it's not something somebody can tell you. I had to go through trials and tribulations to even get that knowledge. You can read all day long, but until you have that personal connection, and that's the way you become free. That's why Yeshua said, the kingdom of heaven is all around you. I'm like, I don't see it. I don't feel it. But I do now. I can walk through a room of vipers, and I am in heaven. And I know my authority with my Father. And all we need is, even a dozen of us, right?
Yes.
Changes the whole atmosphere. Next. So, I don't know what that is in the corner, sorry. Just so you know, if people want to know what can they do with the stuff inside of them, I truly believe once we understand who and what we are, it doesn't matter. And I haven't even looked at my own blood to see if I have it from just whatever. I don't care, because it's not going to affect me. I know who and what I am. It cannot do anything to me, so don't worry about it. Let's put it that way. But if people are having symptoms, maybe they took some shots, etc., Dr. Adam Helch has done a lot of research on IV EDTA, it's a chelation, vitamin C, EMF, electromagnetic frequency. You have to remediate this. I have information on my webpage if you want to look at that, carriemadej.com. There's actually a detox course I have that's only like $60. I think next week it'll be there. It's got, I don't know, it's probably like 6 hours of information on there. But anyway, you can look at this in another way. Detox heavy metals, optimize immune system. So really what we're supposed to do is become more human. So we cannot eat fake food and think that our bodies can do anything with that. Right now, do you know that weird Titanic event with the submarine that supposedly went missing or blown up? Why did they do all that? That was all created. Because while they're doing that, they just approved that lab-grown meat could be sold to us as regular meat. Right now, lab-grown meat can be sold as regular meat. You know what lab-grown meat is? They take a cell, let's say it's going to be from beef. They make it immortalized, which is a cancer cell. Then they grow cancer cells into what is supposedly a piece of meat. You're eating cancer cells. They're doing this everywhere now. Come on, guys, we can't eat that. So we're going to have to know our local growers, our local fishermen, our local ranchers. You can make time. Everybody can make time, right?
That's right.
We start bartering with each other.
Yes.
You grow just a little bit of your own vegetables. You don't have to grow everything, just a little bit. And I tell people that amazing things will happen when you touch the soil with your bare hands, bare feet. You are exchanging genetic information with the soil, something called mycelium. When you do that, there is a communication happening. So the plants that grow will actually grow the chemical compounds that your body needs or the community needs. That's what you're supposed to eat locally. It's been proven time and time again. I've got tons of research on it. In fact, it shows how certain bacteria, because they're beneficial to us, they will know how to detox, let's say, arsenic. So if you're always putting your hands in the soil or sometimes swirling the seed in your mouth before you plant it, that plant will start to grow and it will start to create this microbiome that is healthy for you. So you can tolerate poisons that they're throwing at you. They can tolerate different infections. Our body was made wonderfully and fearfully. Your body can do anything. I mean, we don't need that traditional system like they've told us. And right now, I tell people all of these plants that are growing around us, these weeds like milk thistle, dandelion, pine needles, Artemisia, all these things are miraculous. They can heal us. So, for instance, dandelion and milk thistle started growing crazy everywhere. I've been traveling different countries. Everywhere they said, this stuff's everywhere. And if you look at PubMed research, secular research, it shows you it can cure cancer. Tinctures, just tinctures. It can reverse, I've seen it happen all the time. Fulminant liver failure. People, John, there's nothing else we can do. Every time it heals them. Unbelievable. They won't tell you that. Drug-resistant bacteria, been a big problem. That cures it. Really? Milk thistle. And there's a special milk thistle called Benedictus. Nisus benedictus. So I've got some seeds because it normally grows in the Mediterranean and the UK, Scotland. Started growing some of that, but you can get some of the seeds or tincture from mountainrose.com or Rose Mountain. Mountain Rose, thanks. Mountain Rose Herbs, thank you. So you can make the tincture on your own. But anyhow, Benedictus it's amazing. It's the only thing that cured people of the plague, the Black Plague, the bubonic plague. The monks, the Benedictine monks, knew this. And back then, people were really poisoning each other back then, right? They didn't like someone, they got a poison, etc. So they liked to poison with the heart. Isn't that interesting? Because right now, myocarditis is poisoning of the heart. We have no solution. Not even the holistic people have solutions for it. But when I read the Benedictine monks, some of their notes, they said that was the cure for any poisoning of the heart. You took the tincture and you applied a poultice. And I've told people, I encouraged them, I said, why don't you go out and try this? I mean, unless you have a ragweed allergy, it can't hurt you. Isn't it unbelievable? And ragweed allergies, so what if you had a little allergy, sniffles and stuffiness? Worth it, I think.
Yes.
I mean, this is our apothecary. It's right here on earth. God is telling us what we need. The earth grows what we need. Stop killing it with the Roundup and everything else. It's right in front of us. It's always been there. I lived in the Dominican Republic in a very remote area for a while, and the people taught me a lot there. They could live to 112 years of age until modern people got there and started giving them their medicine and shots and their food. Literally, they didn't have anything. They taught me that they ate what was around them, God provided, and then if they couldn't eat it, they would make a tea out of it. And they had 28 or 29 plants that could cure cancers. People from other Latino countries would come, fly in, take them, go back, and their cancers were cured. It was known. It was no big deal. Don't let the fear get to you. Remember, do not fear, do not fear, do not fear. We have a loving God. We have to go through trials and tribulations. We have to go through the refiner's fire to grow up spiritually and take back and be caretakers of the earth again.
Yes.
Heaven comes to earth. Our bodies are not weak. They're not fragile. They are miraculous. Our bodies, we are promised glorified bodies like Adam and Eve had in the beginning. Glorified bodies. That's the rapture. That's the harpazo. You don't just fly up somewhere and disappear in a cloud. I don't believe that. Next slide. Unplug from the hypnotic matrix. We are being poisoned in our mind just as much as our bodies. People are in hypnosis. This is why that's called that disconnect you see where you give them data but they can't process it. They're literally under a spell by the music industry, by the media, by everything out there. Once you know it, you're not as affected as the uneducated and the unknowledgeable person. But if you start really looking at the lyrics, you look at the subliminal messages they put in there, it's disgusting with the children's cartoons. You could go on and on. They're not harmless, you guys. They are so harmful. Most of the music industry, they're putting, they have, I don't know if you know this, high satanic priestesses that come in and put overlays, even in Christian music. That's why we make our own music. Again, be human. Barefoot in your own grass, grow a little bit, a couple herbs, barter with some people. Take your kids out of these horrific indoctrination, satanic things called schools, and you start teaching them at home. We do apprenticeships, right? It doesn't take that much money to live on because we help each other. We're communal, social. We eat together. You're not going to have that anxiety and depression and sleeplessness and all these other issues that come from stress if we start doing this together. Just remember that love is the highest frequency. Roses are the highest frequency plant on the planet, and they are associated with love. And roses right now are blooming everywhere. Every country I went to, they're blooming everywhere. In UK, they're the huge, fat, old-fashioned ones. The scent was literal heaven everywhere. And the people in UK said they've never seen this happen before. Roses everywhere. I was in Albania, everywhere. People are saying these roses are blooming more and more. They can't bloom without the right environment. They're telling us something, right? So yeah, connect with life. We make our own music. We do our own things. We don't go outside of ourselves for everything. And it does take a village to raise a child. It's our responsibility, all of our responsibility. I do not have my own children. If I did, I probably wouldn't be so bold. But I know that this is my mission. This is my job, my duty, and I'm happy to accept that. But the children are still mine, my responsibility, that is. I look at all of them. I will defend them. I would die for them. I would die for you 100 times over. Because there's no greater honor.
Yes.
When you walk with the Lord, with the Spirit, you're so free, you're alive. You laugh at the danger. It doesn't matter. You know, the Israelites are brave, right? And they're us because we're grafted into that same tree. They had Rakazak. Rakazak. That is their war cry. What does that mean? It means to have strength and courage of a lion. You're like David, where he's a little tiny thing, but he had his 5 stones with all of these insane giants, reptilians around him, and he didn't care. He went in with Rakazak. That's that Holy Spirit fire where you know what you're going to do is right, and you know the Lord is with you, and you know that no matter what happens, that you know where you're going. That's Rakazak. That's when Moses finally took everybody to the Jordan River. He didn't make it, but he told Joshua, you go there, and Joshua was like, there are 31 empires that are hostile against us, and they're not entities like us, you guys. 31 empires with just the little Israelites, but they had Rakazak because the Lord promised them it was theirs. And look what happened, right? Against all odds. Because you only, even if it's just one of you, it'll work. I just want to encourage you, remember that. The scripture gives us all kinds of, these aren't parables or fantasies or just stories. They're historical events.
Yes.
And we need our own war cry. Maybe it's freedom, but I'm just telling you, the Israelites had Rakazak.
Rakazak. Rakazak.
And our apothecary does come from nature. But remember that apathy, fear, panic, apathy is the closest to death. If you're apathetic, you are dead. And when you're dead, things are decided for you. Apathy is the worst curse. It is the worst spell that this country has ever had. Apathy is the sickness. It's everywhere. You might as well be dead. And I want to tell you that we are body, mind, and spirit. This is a holy temple, and something will inhabit it. If you choose the true living God, that's what you have. But if you choose nothing, I tell you, I weep for the world. They do not understand what they're letting in their body if they don't choose the true living God. It really is like that. Next. Luke 10:19. I have given you authority to trample on snakes, those reptiles, and scorpions, and to overcome all the power of the enemy. Nothing will harm you. Hallelujah, amen. Because never be scared of anything this media tells you. Remember that you, the true living God, have the authority, not them. They're the infection, not us. They're the parasite, not us. Next slide. I'll just tell you real quick on that slide. I had a dream vision. Awesome. It was 3-4 months ago. I have a little dog named Pepe. He's a little Pepe from Dominican Republic. He's got the heart of a lion with these 20 pounds. Anyway, in my dream, he was in my dream with me. I was in a house, and I was going to the bedroom that I was in. I opened the door, and there was a huge serpent there. Not good. This serpent was huge, and it had a triangle head. And the word that came out of my mouth was, oh, it's a copperhead. But it wasn't a copperhead. It was symbolic for something else. Anyhow, I decided I needed to close the door to think about this. Wasn't sure how to deal with this serpent. So I put a towel under the door, I looked for other people, couldn't find them. I'm like, okay, Pepe, let's go, fight the serpent. And he wasn't with me. I'm like, oh my gosh. I run to the door, open it up, and there's the serpent. But Pepe, brave Pepe, had jumped on his head, jumping like this. So I'm like, well, he already started. I jumped in. We were both grabbing its huge head, and a boulder came up into the room. We're smashing it on the rock, smashing it. And as we're smashing it, the clear crystal, beautiful water came up through the bedroom floor with many rocks. And the rocks came together and helped us macerate the serpent, and it dragged it down into the water and disappeared, right?
Yeah.
I believe that visions and dreams are powerful. And we have to remember in the scriptures that we are the rocks, right? We're the stones. We choose to be. And to me, it was symbolic of that happening. And water is a witness in the Bible on earth. And we are the ones that will get rid of this parasite. And remember, we have the ability to heal the sick. I can't wait till people figure that out. Laying on the hands. We will do greater things than Yeshua, Jesus Christ, when he walked the earth. Again, we will do greater things than he when he walked the earth, all of us. We can cleanse the lepers, cast out the demons. Freely we receive, freely we give, meaning we don't need to make money off this, right? Next slide. And of course, people have said this before, but we need to remember this, that we need to put on the whole armor of God, that we may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil, for our wrestling is not against flesh and blood, but against the powers, principalities, and the world's rulers of the darkness of this age, and against the spiritual forces of wickedness in the heavenly places. Next slide. And this is my favorite picture, because here's the eagle taking that AI, whatever it is, the drone, and it's destroying it. And remember that eagles also know that if they pick up a snake on the ground, they do never ever stay in the ground with the snake, never. And as soon as they pick it up, they go right up in the air, because they never go and stay in the terrain of the snake, because it might be poisonous. If it bites them, they'll kill them. The eagle knows that. So as soon as it takes it up to its terrain, it takes it up to its jurisdiction. Again, remember I said the law of the land, law of the air, law of the water, law of the air is the highest jurisdiction. So it takes it up to its jurisdiction, spiritual, right? And then once it gets up in the air, the snake has no gravity, can't fight, and the eagle can just drop it and kill it that way. Remember the battle that you're fighting. Remember the jurisdiction that you're in. Remember where you have the power. And that's how we win this. So thank you.
Yeah. Great job.